89 of Masechet Zevachim, right by central Jerusalem. Nothing like it over here on a crisp and very cold Baruch Hashem. We've got some fantastic rain at the moment. We're praying for it every single day. We say Mashiach Baruch Moed Geshem, and nothing like being in central Jerusalem, just by the Kiryat Moshe station, to share over some words. We're actually friends today on page number 89 of Masechet Zevachim. Over here, out making fantastic progress, just like usual. So I recommend everyone to watch over the previous videos we've recorded already inside this series over the last few months, because we're already 3 months into it at the moment, which is absolutely astounding. We have to point out that we started this actually at the time period, even before, I think it was, if I recollect, even before Rosh Hashanah. So you get to actually see some interesting scenes of the Jerusalem light rail as we explore and learn a bit of Talmud together over here on this fabulous morning, friends. So we've been talking about different korbanot, different sacrifices, different scenarios here on previous days of Gemara. Especially if anyone's just wondering, we're actually in Kiryat Moshe station. I'm just going towards Beit Begun today. Again, so very interesting. I remember actually recording a video, I think it was all the way back in Sanhedrin 31 in exactly the same place. And I was going towards the same destination on that specific day. Friends, what are we talking about today over here on this train at the moment that we have on a tram line, or whatever people want to call it, about 189 that is naturally pay 10. So I'm taking something from the Osamech website. This question is posed, what comes first? So the question is, why do we first put on talit before we put on tefillin over here? We'd see, you go to the synagogue in the morning, from Shacharit, you'll see a person, an individual, will put on the talit before the tefillin over here. So what's this all about, friends? Okay, that's the question posed. Now, the answer, which is illustrated here in the OHR website, is, of course, is that there is a rule, let's say, that precedence is given to something which is more regular. So something that is more tadir, more frequent, will actually take place. We'll do the mitzvah first. Since the mitzvah of tzitzit applies every single day, while tefillin is not worn on Shabbat and holidays, as we naturally know. So naturally, this mitzvah must be performed first. So that's something naturally we'll all know. Now, the source for this rule is the Mishnah, which states in regard to the offering, the sacrifice of sacrifices, or to the offering of sacrifices. What was that? That a sacrifice, a korban, which is more regular, must be offered before one less regular. So this is a principle that we've learned about on this series on various occasions before. Now, this rule is based on a Torah passage, a pasuk in Sefer Bamidbar, I believe in chapter 28, verse 23. I think it's in Parashat Pinchas, if I'm not mistaken. Korbanot, sacrifices, to be offered on Passover, on Pesach, with the reminder that they are set, they are aside from the Olah sacrifice of the morning, which is regularly offered. Now, this is interpreted as giving precedence to the daily Olah sacrifice because it is more regular. So we see a pattern over here and the establishment with regards to this rule. Now, the great commentator named Tosafot, he's going to come with a question, a query over here as to why the Mishnah would find it necessary to cite this makor, this source itself, since we find, I think in Masechet Pesachim, on page number 58b, another source based on the word ha'olah over here. What is that? I think we see this in Vayikra in chapter 6, number 1, I think Parashat Tzaf. It's used to describe the daily olah sacrifice. Let's say the definitive prefix, the olah itself, indicates that it must be the first sacrifice to be offered naturally. Now, let's say there's a resolution. We're going to come to this specific problem in itself, which we are grappling with over here. What's a resolution, friends? The solution of the problem presented by the Tosafot is a distinction between, let's say, shechita, slaughtering of the animal, and application of its blood to the altar. Let's see whose precedence to other sacrifices is based on the source cited in our Talmud, in our Gemara, and the burning of the olah parts on the altar, whose precedence is based on the Gemara in Pesachim over here. Now, the distinction can be understood by noting the passage quoted in Masechet Zevachim is in a chapter, I believe, in a perek that deals with the burning of the sacrifice rather than its slaughter and blood application. So very, very interesting insight over here. We'll learn all about this concept, I believe, as we're coming into the festival of Hanukkah with regards to, do you like Hanukkah candles first, before Shabbat or not, or after Shabbat, Motzei Shabbat with the Havdalah, where we've grappled with this situation and spoken about that on various occasions. Well, that's something I would definitely point out at the moment over here, friends. So it's actually an interesting week, let's just say, with regards to Daf Yomi. There's a lot of tidbits and a lot of action, let's just say, that we're talking about at the moment. I think in the coming pages we're going to talk about the scales of sacredness and sacrifices, for example, the ages of animals eligible for sacrifice. That's something we're going to grapple with in the coming days. When regularity competes with, let's say, the sacredness for precedence, that's something we're talking about. What were the various functions of oils inside the Beit HaMikdash? That's another topic that we're talking about. And something else that we're going to speak about in the coming days is which sacrificial blood must be laundered if spilled on a garment. That's another interesting topic. So full of content at the moment. And it was actually something interesting I wanted to add about what the sages say in yesterday's page of the Gemara, which I didn't actually share over. I actually saw on page 88. There was actually a cute saying, so I just hope I can find it now to share it with all you people. The teaching actually in yesterday's page, we learned about Rabbi Eineni Bar Sasson. We didn't mention this yesterday. This was in Amud Bet, so you could say close to today's page of the Gemara. The Torah chapter about the Kohen's garments, we talked about it yesterday. The Kohen will wear 4 garments, and the Kohen Gadol will wear 8 garments. Is next to the chapter about Korbanot. Why is that? In order to teach an individual that you, just as a sacrifice provides atonement, so too does the Kohen's garments, the Gedim of the Kohen, also provides atonement over there, something that we learned about. Well, I think it's very cute saying. This was from the great Rabbi Eineni Bar Sasson, naturally over there, so it will be a very opportune to say that. And yeah, just on the train line at the moment, I'm going towards Bayit Vagan today, actually quite near Har Herzl at the moment. So let's see some scenes over here in a special treat for all of you of the Jerusalem Rail over here. It's always inviting to see Yerushalayim over here. Thank God we're actually in Bayit Vagan, an entrance over here. Just some scenes over here at Bayit Vagan. We're quite near Yad Vashem also.
Jabal Herzl, Mount Herzl.
And over here, we've actually done some tours here before. So I'm going to go outside now. זה תקנה, מה זה? זה גם בית וגן או?
לא, פה זה בית וגן.
זה בית וגן.
גם בית וגן.
זה גם?
יש אותה.
אני רוצה רחוב דובדבני. איזה, מכיר את זה? רחוב דובדבני?
אני לא יודע להגיד.
זה יוצא קרוב או לא?
אין לי מושג.
אוקיי, בסדר. אוקיי, אין בעיה. תודה. Okay, so look at this, the famous place, friends, over here. It's just by, we're actually quite close to Har Herzl. What a view, friends, over here. Just so that you are appetized with your day. Absolutely amazing. Nothing like exploring Jerusalem. The sights. You've got a Hanukkah also for Hanukkah, which is coming up over here at the moment. Just in Bayit Vagan, and the views of Israel. And you can see the other train line coming in central Jerusalem. This is really a special, let's just say, just as a special treat. It's always good to experience Yerushalayim at its splendor. You can see a Chanukiah Chabad I've put up over here. I'm just preparing my next Daf Yomi video, friends. We'll leave you some scenes over here of Jerusalem. Nothing mamash beats Yerushalayim. So I think on this note, wishing you well, and everyone have a fantastic day over here. Blessings from Israel. It's got a Chanukiah. Yeah, there's a famous site over here in Bayit Vagan, just by Har Herzl. We're very near Yad Vashem also. You can see hotels and big buildings, and it's a very, very nice weather actually today. Very crisp. So everyone, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.